So here we go. So we're filling this out, and I want you guys to send it back to me on campus. Because we're working with other people, we need to, one, we're going to be tweaking our ideas because they're going to work and they're going to give us a thumbnail, or they're going to give Mr. McCallum a thumbnail, which is their like rough draft of their artwork, and then go from there. Oh, I forgot. Please, everyone, put your phones in your bag. I forgot to do it while taking attendance. So this is your warning. If I see it, I will come and grab your phone and put it on my desk. So you too, Andre. I'm kidding. Well, I can't really see what he's doing. Yeah, I drive. I know where you. No, I don't. So we need what we need to do. What we need to provide. Oh, we need to tell them exactly what we want. For example, if you're thinking of making a Western, and in your head a Western is saloons and high noon shootouts, and that's what the setting for your game, but the person making the artwork is like, oh, I want to do a train robbery set in the desert with train tracks. Like, that's kind of be the background. That's obviously not going to work well with you because you have a totally different idea for your game. So you need to be as specific as you can. Currently, I get things will change. I get you may have ideas change, or, oh, I just saw this thing and I want to add this to my character. That's fine. But for now, I need you to think and kind of pick something. What's going to happen is I think they're all going to create everything. We're going to store them online, and you'll be able to pick and choose what you would like. So if a couple of you guys are doing Westerns and there's 3 or 4 different Western backgrounds, you guys can use them. But it's not, but that's how it's going to be. It's going to be like a pool of images that you guys will be able to pull from. Okay, so what you need to do is, what is the main look of your game? So are you going for a Western? Is it sci-fi, post-apocalyptic, fantasy, that sort of thing? That's just more for, probably for Mr. McCallum, because I think what he's going to do is he's going to group his students into, hey, these are the post-apocalyptic people, and these are the Westerns people, and these are blank peoples, and they're going to be able to like collaborate with each other, I think. And then what type of game are you going to make? Is it going to be a top-down shooter like the one we're making? Is it some sort of puzzle game? Is it a brick crusher, that sort of thing? Yeah.
This is second semester is going to be when the game is, right?
After Thanksgiving.
This is a one semester class.
This is a 1 semester class.
Oh, it is? Yeah. Dang it, because I'm in the art department next semester.
Yeah.
Okay,
I wish it would have been cool. I'd like to kind of expand. I would like to spend an entire semester on game design so that you guys, hey, here you are, Will. I'd like to spend an entire semester just on games so that you guys can build better games and more something that's not so simplistic, or maybe even learn Swift, which is the coding language you have to code in for your iPhone apps. I think they only allow Swift, so that would be cool. Which is, I think, pretty similar to Python. I'm not 100% sure. It's been a long time since I looked at it. Yeah.
You can use like Unity though, and then you can like port it or something like that.
Oh.
Something like that. I don't know what it's called.
Luke.
What are most video games coded?
It depends on. So a lot of it is. So the way I understand it is you have 3D models that are made in like an Illustrator or some sort of program that then get imported into a gaming engine, and that is its own thing. I don't know of like, to say Call of Duty is coded in Python or blank is probably wrong, almost assuredly. I don't know exactly how they code it, but it's typically within. It's kind of like some people made a world that I give to you, and you can make it however you want. So you can change things. You can't change the laws of physics, but you can change the force of gravity for your game. But it's still within the same I'm sure you've heard of the Unreal Engine. That is what a lot of games use. Most games don't code from scratch like we're doing. Yeah. Yeah, William's right here. Yeah. But yeah, other than that's probably the most detailed answer I can give. Yes.
Is it possible to code a game where something chases the character?
100%. I've had students do it. The only thing is, one, if you want to try to figure out the geometry and have it work, go right ahead. I'm not gonna prevent you from doing that. However, that might be something from the internet that you find that you then have to edit your code to work, because you can find code for almost anything online. It just whether or not it will work in your code, you have to edit that code to make it work on your code, which shows to me that you know how your code works well enough to take code and edit it and make it work in your code, which is why I'm okay with you taking that from the internet, putting it in your game. I only ask, well, you have to cite it I'm pretty strict on this, so if you have 10 places in your code where you borrowed code from the internet and you cite 9 out of 10, I take 10% off. I'm very, very strict. I need to know where the code is because obviously I know all the code that you guys know. I know what you know. So when scrolling through the game, I know we've covered that, whoa, we never covered this. Where did he learn that? And if there's no citation, I'm like, all right, well, points off. I'm very strict on that part. So if you forget one citation, I take a lot of percentages off. But as long as you cite it, I'm fine. You could have 15 instances where you cite code, and it can make up 30% of your game.
You only cite it right next to it, or
just comment it out. Just comment the URL out, and that's it.
Gotcha.
Luke.
How realistically, how complex would
it can be. So what the game we make in class is the game we make, right? That's how we learn how to make a game. You can either add to that, so you can add multiplayer, different levels, a boss, anything, or you can start from scratch. You get to pick. Typically, it's about 50-50, 60-40, give or take, whether or not people make their own game or if they add. If I had to guess, adding to the game we make is easier than starting from scratch. Now, when I say start from scratch, I mean you can take the movement code from our game and throw it in your game. You can take this code and throw it in your game. You can do this and do that. It's just so I'm not saying you have to retype every letter from your code. You can take anything in our game that we make in class, throw it in your game and add to it, or you can go, I'm starting with this game, I'm changing the look, I'm adding levels, I'm keeping the core design, I'm keeping it, and this, I need to edit the rubric a little bit on this, because it can't be the exact same game, and it just looks different with multiplayer bad guys and a boss, different bad guys. You have to change something about it, but if the core mechanic is you're shooting things that are chasing you or trying to get somewhere, but they come from the left and they come all over, then it's different enough. I just don't want people to, I've had students turn in the same game with different images. That's it. They've changed nothing. I don't want that. So I need you guys to think well, I think I can figure this out and I know I can do that. So that can make a game where I have to protect a house from zombies on the outside. Once we build our game, if you break down the aspects of what does it mean to be in a building, that means my character cannot leave these coordinates. So they're stuck in there. Okay, well then my bad guys, they're trying to get to certain points. So instead of having my bad guys just run across, I code in a specific point that they try to get to. Okay, and then I can put, how would I do health of a wall? Well, I know how to do health of a bunny or a badger, so I'll take that little bit of code, throw it in here, and edit it a little bit. Now it takes 15 hits, and then once the 15 is hit, you see a broken window, not a real window. So yes, if you take a game and you don't break it down, it will be extremely daunting. But if you go, okay, what do I know? How and what do I want? This is what I want. Is there a way I can take what I know, edit it to get what I want? Between me, the 2 weeks you have, and the internet, I think you can. The biggest thing, this is the hugest thing that I could stress to you guys right now. So I want everyone, including people on Zoom, to pay attention. Look at me. I want to make eye contact with everyone. You two, I'll make camera contact with. A simple game, well done, is better than a complicated game not finished. A simple game, well done, is better than a complicated game not finished. Meaning, don't try to make Snake if you don't think you're going to finish. Don't try to make a 3D fighting game if you don't think you're going to finish. Make a 2D one level thing. Like, make something super simple that you know you can do, and make sure that gets done. That's it, right? You guys have 2.5 weeks to code a game. None of you guys are programmers. So I've had students try to make a fighting game and fail. And like, the code you're giving me is broken. I cannot give you an A. It's awesome what you went for. You shot for the stars, and given another week, you'd be fine. But I cannot give you an A. I have to give you a C because the game is that broken. Even though you have the gameplay elements, even though you have this, even though that, it's broken and it's glitchy and I can't play it. You have to have a C. Or, hey, this game works perfectly. There's no flaws. I can't break it, and all it is all it is you are a dot in a maze trying to get to the end. You can't run into, the maze is actually walls, so you can't just walk over everything. It's amazing. You can't go through a wall. You only can see a little bit around you. It's like a flashlight game. You guys have seen those, right? Top down, where you have a flashlight and you're trying to walk around with bad guys randomly spawning, and the longer you're in the level, the more bad guys spawn. And if you hit a bad guy, you die. No artwork. It's a purple dot with red dots on a black and white maze. Get an A. Because you have it's simple and it works, as opposed to a complicated game that doesn't. So again, we have after Thanksgiving until the end of the semester to work on this in class. You then also have all that time at home to work on it as well. If you understand the code, and I'm going to go over a bunch of that stuff today, on this is how you do simple things. This is a simple way to get different levels. This is a simple way to have power-ups. This is a simple way to do this. I'll go over that today. I just really want to make sure that you guys have at least 10 minutes to work on this. So I'll go for another 2 minutes. Then I'll answer your questions, and then from 2 o'clock to 2:10, 2:15, you guys will work on that, and then we'll do our game. What was it saying? Simple game. Thank you. It's a simple way to do this, a simple way to do that. And so I had a student go, how long would it take me to do this? Am I going to have to put an obscene amount of time in this? And I go, not to sound like cocky, but to add the things that's needed for the rubric might take me 10 or 15 minutes. So I would take that times 10. So that's 150 minutes. That's 2.5 hours, maybe 3. Yeah, I think if you guys understand the code, and because we don't have to worry about what it looks like, we're getting all the artwork from the art department, it should be a lot faster than years before. You don't have to worry about what it looks like because they're taking care of that. We just load the images in. The only thing I'd recommend is in your code, and we're going to do this partly today, is the more you code with variables, the easier it is to change stuff. Because let's say I was writing a code and I hard-coded all your guys' name into it, and it says, print hello Kevin, hello Lorian, hello Anna, hello Luke, and it just went through everyone's name. Well, what happens if Luke drops? Darn it, now I have to go through my code, and every single place I typed the word Luke, I have to get rid of it or change it. Whereas if I did it with variables, I may only have to change it in 1 or 2 spots, and then the other 30 times I reference it, it's automatically changed. So it's better to code with variables than it is with numbers. Because we can, in our game, if we need to change something, we can just come up here and go, well, it's not this image anymore, it's this one. And I change it, boom. Everything resizes. I don't have to worry that the image is too big or too small, that it interferes with this or interferes with that, because I've coded everything with variables that represent aspects, not numbers that represent the actual thing. So, oh wow, I actually finished in 2 minutes. Who had a question? I think Brandon did.
So if you're making your own game, do you have to add like levels to it, or
You can add. So there's a list of gameplay elements I give you when I officially assign the final, and it's like multiplayer, bosses, different types of bad guys, different types of weapons, different types of movement. So if you run around, you get into a car and everything changes, that would count. You have different levels. I think I said bosses. You can have power-ups. You can have any number of things. And it's just you have to have 3 of them in your game. So you have to either add 3 to the game we make in class, or you have to start your own game with 3 of those elements. Cole.
Would you be opposed if we took like the game that we made, and what if we changed the images to what they made, and then we did those 3 things? Would that be okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you may have to change. So instead of it being a carbon copy of like our game plus a couple gameplay elements, you need to change something else. So if your bad guys are just coming from the side and you have power-ups and blah, blah, you need to change something about that core part. So like they're coming from different areas, or, you could easily make a dancing game with things coming from the side, hitting a point. You can make a DDR, but with your keypad or whatever. There's a bunch of things you can do. It just can't be bad guys from the right running to the left. Once they get here, they die, you lose health. It has to be more or change that. Yes.
Can I go to the restroom?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh yeah, so when you're asking for the type of game, what would it be if it, I don't really know how to describe the game I want to make, because basically your character can jump up onto floating blocks and they have to get to the end of the level, but I don't know what that would be called.
It's called a side scroller. Yes.
it's okay if
Like
we
you're talking about like Mario,
Similar, yeah.
like old school Mario. Yeah, side scroller.
It's okay if we kind of like, I don't want to say copy a game, but still like code it myself, but try to create.
If you want to try your best to create Mario, 100% go for it. You could pick a game you love. Like there was a game I grew up on called Math Blaster, right? Pretty simple, and I think I could code it. I could do my best at coding that game. And that was you had to do math problems in your head and type in the answers, and your character would like move through levels and stuff. So it was fun. I was a nerd growing up. I still am, but anyway. Yeah, feel free if you want to try to code Snake. I've had students attempt that before. It didn't work out the greatest, but you can do that. Yeah.
So for the side scroller, what if you want one of the levels to be in the cloud so they jump up instead of to the side? Would that still be a side scroller, but just
Yeah.
vertical?
Yeah.
Okay.
Side or vertical jump. Yeah, side scroller. All right, anything else? All right, so I'll give you guys about 10 minutes to work on, I'm going to stop this video.